Again, if anyone who joins us a little late today, this is being recorded, so it'll be available to you. All right, we have started. Let's go ahead and take it away. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. Hello, everybody. I'm Prithvi Yoganand, Director of Product Management at ServiceNow, and I lead the omni-channel aspects of our customer and industry workflow suite of products. With me is Pallavi Pant, who is part of our product management team, and is also my cohort, my colleague who works on some of these mobile messaging and omni-channel topics. Today, we're going to talk about an area that we are really excited about, which is mobile messaging for customer service. As part of the presentation today, we will start with some background. Then we will look at some use cases and capabilities that we offer. And finally, we will conclude with helping you on how to get started in this area and get going on this journey. So let's start with some background. Let's see why this area is important and why you should be excited. We know that the way we communicate has changed drastically over the last few years. Customers want to be contacted on the channel of the choice, and brands want to reach out to them where the customers are. And it happens that mobile messaging channels are where the customers are. So this is strategically important for brands. Secondly, conversations on mobile messaging channels are asynchronous. What that means is, think about your experience today on a session-based channel like phone. It requires you to carve out some time in your busy life and pick up your phone, call up the 1-800 number, wait in the queue, and then finally get connected to the brand and have a discussion with the brand. Now, in that scenario, what happens is you are trying to model or mold your lifestyle according to the needs of the channel. Now, compare and contrast that with your experience on a messaging channel. Typically, the experience would be you want to reach out to the brand for support, you would send a message to the brand. You're busy with your morning chores, and then sometime later, maybe at the breakfast table, you happen to glance at your phone again, and you see that the brand has responded back. You review the responses, you send the next message, and then you're again busy with some of your work. Later part of the day, sometime you may have again happen to glance at your phone. You see that you've received some more responses from the brand. You review those messages, and then you send your next set of messages. So the communication is asynchronous, and you don't have to fit your lifestyle according to the needs of the communication channel. The communication channel automatically adapts to your lifestyle. Finally, the conversations are rich. Gone are the days when you could communicate only with text and images and URLs. With rich messaging, you can do a lot more through a conversation itself. And Gartner predicts that by 2025, 80% of customer service organizations would have abandoned their mobile apps and their traditional way of communicating in favor of messaging channels. So this is clearly the future. But when we think about this area, this is not a problem that we can solve with a broad brush, because it turns out that every region in the world has its own favorite messaging channel. When you look at North America, Facebook Messenger is really popular. For much of the rest of the world, it is WhatsApp. And there are also regional channels such as WeChat in China, Line in Japan, etc. So when we think about a solution for this problem, we need to think about flexibility right from the word go. And that is what you will see in the product. So let's talk about some use cases and the capabilities that we offer to support those use cases. Let's look at a typical customer conversation and what does it look like. It all starts with the customer. The customer is initiating a conversation with the brand. The conversation could be served first by a virtual agent. At some point, customer decides that he or she wants to connect with a live agent. So this conversation is getting routed to a live agent. The live agent receives the conversation and supports the customer. Now, this is just one among the many conversations that are happening in the contact center. So there's obviously a supervisor who is monitoring the health of the contact center, looking at the queues, looking at the agents' utilization, coaching the agents, etc. So in a nutshell, this is a high-level snapshot of a typical conversation between a customer and the brand. Now let's double click on each of these building blocks and look at the capabilities that we offer to support each part of this conversation. So let's start with the engagement aspect of it. This is where a customer is initiating a conversation, and the conversation could be front-ended by a virtual agent. Now, in this area, we offer an adapter development framework that enables not only us, but also our customers and partners to build channel adapters. Now, of course, just having a framework is not sufficient. We also offer 4 native adapters out of the box, and these are for SMS, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Line. You can find these adapters on store.servicenow.com. For SMS and WhatsApp, you do require an active subscription with Twilio. We very recently launched a new offering called ServiceNow Messaging Service, which enables you to get Twilio services through us. So you as a customer no more have to engage with 2 different vendors, ServiceNow and Twilio, for getting onboarded on these messaging channels. You can work with us and we can help you getting smoothly onboarded. We also have a single conversation server architecture, which powers all of our conversation capabilities. This is a very, very powerful concept. What it means is, if you have already created your virtual agent topics for web chat channel, you can seamlessly expose the same conversation capabilities on new channels like SMS and WhatsApp. So it really builds on the concept of build once and use anywhere. Also, all the conversations are NLU supported. So when you are having conversations with the customers on SMS or WhatsApp or any of these modern channels, those conversations can be NLU enabled as well. Our next block in the step is routing. Routing is supported by our marquee routing engine, which is called Advanced Work Assignment. To learn more about Advanced Work Assignment, I would highly encourage looking at some of my earlier webinars on this topic. With Advanced Work Assignment, you can route work based on agent's capacity, availability, and skills. Also important is agent affinity, and we support 3 flavors of affinity. Number 1 is historical affinity. You can look at the customer conversation, see which agent has served this customer in the past, and use that information to prioritize that particular agent. Let's say you have an agent John who has served customer Lisa 5 times in the last 10 days. When the next chat comes from customer Lisa, you may want to prioritize John because John probably has most context and has a history of serving and providing great customer service to Lisa. The second flavor of agent affinity is case context. If you know that a conversation is happening in context of a case, you may want to assign the conversation to the agent who's currently assigned to the case itself, because that agent would have the most context. And this flavor of agent affinity helps you do that. Our third flavor of agent affinity is account team responsibility. You may have high value customers where you have named account personnels serving those customers. So you can prioritize those named account personnels for assignment when a conversation is coming from one of those high value customers. Rerouting. Because of the nature of these communication channels, rerouting is a very important topic. Because the way conversation could happen on these channels is when you send a message and the agent responds back, your next message could be 2 minutes later or 2 hours later, or maybe even 2 days later. When you respond back 2 days later, the first agent who was assigned to your conversation may or may not be available anymore. So the conversation may require rerouting. Now for rerouting, we support 2 models. The first model is based on period of inactivity. What that means is you may want to give your original agent some time to get back to the conversation, even if that agent is right now busy or unavailable. because that agent might have the most context. So let's say when a new message comes in from the customer, you are giving your agent 5 minutes. And within the 5 minutes, if the agent doesn't respond, you may want to reroute. The second model here is based on agent availability. This is where you may want to get an agent quickly to the customer and not make the customer wait. So when a new message comes from the customer, we check if the agent's presence is set to available. If the agent is not available, we will immediately reroute. So those are the two rerouting options available to you. Our final blocks of the jigsaw are around agent experience and supervisor experiences. So from an agent experience perspective, the agents have access to quick actions and response templates for quickly responding back to the customer. These are the same quick actions and response templates that you have used with web chat today, and the same capabilities have been extended to mobile messaging as well. Customer Central enables agents to get a 360-degree view of the customer, understand the customer's installation, purchase history, conversation history, any cases that is logged in the past, etc. And we will see that in the demo as well. Also, when it comes to asynchronous conversation, these conversations have special user experience needs. Think about a typical synchronous web chat. In synchronous web chats, an agent might be dealing with 2 or 3 chats at any given moment of time. In case of asynchronous long-running conversations, the same agent may be dealing with 20 or 25 such conversations at the same time. Now, when the agent is dealing with so many conversations at the same time, the agent is not going to keep all those tabs open on his or her workspace. They will close some of those tabs just to get some real estate space back. But there needs to be some way to getting back to those conversations. There needs to be some way to know when a customer has responded back to the conversation. So we've taken care of those experiences, and you will see that in demo as well. Finally, moving to the supervisor capabilities, all the capabilities that you've seen on web chat have been extended to mobile messaging as well. So the supervisors have access to real-time monitoring dashboards, agent whisper for coaching, etc. With that, let me hand it over to my colleague Pallavi to take us through some demos.
Sure. Thanks, Prithvi. All right. So we have 3 broad use cases that we would like to cover today. So we have 3 parts of our demo today. First part is when customer reaches out to business on Facebook Messenger. In flow 2, we have system initiated conversation when business starts a conversation on SMS. And in flow 3, we have agent initiated conversation when a support agent from business starts a new conversation with customer on WhatsApp. So these at high level are 3 distinct use cases that we support. So with that, let's check out our customer journey for flow 1. Gilly Parker is a customer who wants to buy a new smartwatch. She looks up the Facebook page of Solana Health, which is a brand she's aware sells smartwatches, and she starts a conversation on Facebook Messenger. She engages in conversation with ServiceNow virtual agent, but before buying the smartwatch, she would like to chat with an agent. So virtual agent transfers the conversation to John Jason. And then John helps Gilly in placing her order. Let's see this in action. Gilly is on her Facebook app right now, and she goes to search for the brand, Solana Health. She comes across a page that looks like the page of a brand that she would like to interact with. She reviews all the information on this page. Now she could get started by clicking on the send message button on any of the posts, or she could also click on the message icon here on top. Now, as Gilly clicked on the message button, the Facebook Messenger application on her smartphone launches and also shows some message prompts that Gilly could use as her first message to the brand. But she, in this case, is here to buy a new smartwatch. So she chooses to compose her own first message to the brand. As we already talked about, ServiceNow Virtual Agent is NLU enabled and identifies users' intent based on the text and surfaces most relevant VA topic. So in this case, as you see, we got the VA topic that is most suitable for Gilly to move forward with this conversation flow. And then Virtual Agent brings in some options for her in terms of which products she would like to get started. So she's here for smartwatch. And then Virtual Agent pulls some options which are available for her to consider. So she explores these options. She could take her own time to explore. She could probably take hours or days to come back to this conversation. But for this demo, let's say she selected one of these smartwatches and moves forward. But looks like she has a question and she wants to ask about warranty. So in this case, she's asking, okay, that's fine, but what about the warranty? So ServiceNow Virtual Agent shares responses from AI search, which is a consumer grade search infra. Now in this case, she looks happy with this answer, but she's still not ready to check out and she would like to chat with an agent. On the right side of my screen, we have ServiceNow configurable workspace. As we can see, agent John Jason is logged in and he has made himself available on chat, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp channels. So in this case, the moment a conversation gets routed to John, he sees this prompt appear and he could read like this conversation is from which customer and on which channel. So when a new conversation gets routed, we have ServiceNow Advanced Work Assignment that helps route to the best suited agent based on capacity, availability, and skill. And after John accepts the conversation, he could go over and check all the conversation and interaction that Gilly has had so far with the virtual agent. And he could also review all the information about Gilly from our 360 feedback, from our 360 customer summary infrastructure, which is coming from Customer Central. Now he could review all the past touch points, cases, interactions, knowledge articles that Gilly has reviewed, which products Gilly owns, etc. Now this entire information is configurable. Businesses can choose to show information which is most relevant for their business. So in this case, after reviewing all the information, John could start a conversation at a more personalized note with Gilly. So he's aware that Gilly is here and interested in buying Solana smartwatch. So Gilly would like to explore some accessories for her Solana smartwatch. So she's checking with John if he can help her with some accessories for smartwatch. Now, instead of providing Gilly with a list of compatible accessories, John's time would be best served if this part of the conversation is taken over by a virtual agent. So in this case, John is going to briefly hand over this conversation to a virtual agent, which he's invoking by using the conversational autopilot. He picks up the correct VA topic, and there we go. So now we have conversation autopilot. In this way, John could use his time to attend to other conversations and cases that he would like to work on. So once again, Gilly is back to interacting with the virtual agent. So she's now selecting any accessory that she would like to go for her smartwatch. So she's happy with the tempered glass. So as you see, whenever Gilly is interacting, John could also see what Gilly is doing, but just in the read-only mode. So Gilly's happy with these products, and now she's finally ready to go ahead and get it built on her current credit card. And with that, her order is now successfully placed. And virtual agent is asking if she would like to subscribe to receiving notifications on SMS and WhatsApp channels. Now, as a best practice, we recommend businesses to collect consent from their end customers before sending them any notifications from business. And with that, as you can see, the autopilot flow completes and the context is handed back to John. So he's using response templates to use that he has already configured in the system. Now, when there is a delay from Gilly's side in replying to John's message, John could multitask. So in a typical service center setup, agents may be dealing with high volume of conversations and cases, and they would not like to keep so many tabs open all at the same time. So in this case, John has closed the conversation, and whenever there is a new update on any ongoing asynchronous conversation, then John is going to be notified, and he could always go back to this ongoing tab from where he could quickly pick up the conversation he wants to work on. So looks like we are done. Gilly is pretty happy with what John has told her today. And right after that, John is okay to go ahead and close the conversation. So in this case, he could choose to not close the conversation and keep it ongoing. But if he likes to close the conversation, then long-running conversations, there are two ways by which long-running conversations could be closed. One is when agents explicitly hit the end conversation button over here, or system could automatically close these conversations if there is no activity on these conversations for a period of time, which is again configurable. So with this, John is going ahead and closing the conversation. Now this ends our demo for flow 1. I want to hand over to Prithvi for flow 2.
Thank you, Pallavi. Any long-running messaging conversation can be categorized under one of the three categories. The first category of conversations are around agent-initiated conversation. Sorry, customer-initiated conversation. So this is where a customer knows how to reach out to a brand and starts the conversation. And that is what we saw in Pallavi's demo. The second bucket of conversations are around system-initiated conversation. This is where a brand reaches out to the customer proactively, and a response to that message could lead to a conversation. And that is what we are going to see here. The third bucket of conversations are around agent-initiated conversation, where the agent takes the first step of reaching out to the customer, which is very relevant in channel switching kind of use cases. And we will see a demo of that after this topic. So let's look at Gilly's journey after the product got delivered. So at this point, we see that the product has been delivered, and Gilly receives an SMS notification informing her about the delivery. The SMS notification also has some options offered. Gilly can either choose to initiate an exchange or return in case if there's a problem, or she can choose to reach out to customer support if she has questions. And if none of those applies, she can also share a feedback survey. So let's look at Gilly's experience. So at this point, Gilly has received an SMS notification informing her about the delivery. And like I mentioned earlier, she has few options. She could either share feedback, she could initiate return/exchange, or she could reach out to support if she has questions. At this point, Gilly has none of that, so she is going to share a feedback. So she starts that by typing 1, and this initiates a virtual agent conversation to gather feedback. The virtual agent is asking how the experience was. Because Gilly had a great experience, she is going to respond back with a 1. And the feedback has been captured and logged in the system through survey. Gilly can always send a new message if she wants to initiate a conversation. That conversation could be first handled by a virtual agent, or then later it could be handed over to a live agent. So SMS becomes another way of engaging with your customer. With that, let's go to the next part of the demo. I will hand it over back to Pallavi to take us through an example of an agent-initiated conversation.
Sure. Thanks, Prithvi. So let's go over flow 3. So after a couple of days, Gilly discovers that her new smartwatch isn't charging at all. So she raises a new support case with Solana Health. John is assigned the case again due to ServiceNow advanced work assignments affinity-based routing that we just talked about. As John is working on the case, he finds out that Gilly's new smartwatch has some known charging problems and is eligible for an exchange. So with that, he starts a new conversation with Gilly, and this time on WhatsApp, and informs her about the exchange and subsequently helps her placing the exchange request. Let's see this in action. So John is again back to his regular work. He's on his workspace today, and he picks up the first case to work on. He explores some details about the case. Now looks like case says Solana smartwatch doesn't charge. He explores all the information related to the customer. He goes to details about the case to learn more. And he also goes to Agent Assist. Now, Agent Assist helps pull all the relevant information that could help John in solving this particular case. We could pull up all the relevant information from past cases, related problems, pinned articles, or probably knowledge articles. So in this case, John is able to find a relevant knowledge article. Now, as he goes through that, he figures out that this particular model of smartwatch that Gilly owns is now eligible for an exchange because it has a existing charging problem. So with that, he doesn't want to waste any time, and he wants to immediately go and inform customer Gilly Parker that she is now eligible for exchanging her watch free of cost. So he goes to select WhatsApp as a channel. And he's going to tell Gilly that if she's interested in exchanging her smartwatch, she should reply to this conversation, and she could reach out to Brand, and she could keep her return package ready, and we'll be happy to ship a new watch for her. And he's also sharing with her a return label that she needs to paste on her return package. So with that, as we're getting the file uploaded, so in the background, what's happening is we're going to create a new interaction the moment John sends this message to Gilly. And there we go. Now he's ready to send this message. And as you see, there is a prompt on the workspace here that says that here is a new interaction that we created. Now, this is again an ongoing asynchronous interaction that got created. Now, John could choose to work on this interaction right away, or he could wait for response from Gilly. So in this case, as you see on Gilly's WhatsApp, she received this message from John, and she seems to be happy that someone from Solana is reaching out and responding to her case. And she's ready to exchange. So with that, John would like to tell Gilly when is the earliest her new smartwatch could be delivered. And seems like this new date works for Gilly. John is then going to finally place her exchange request and suggest her to keep the return item ready and all packed. And with that, looks like once again, we are ready to end this particular conversation. So this is where our demo ends. Now let's explore what lies under the hood to facilitate these conversations on messaging channels. So here are the set of components that power ServiceNow omni-channel messaging. Down below here, we have our interaction management framework that provides a standard way of recording any communication between customer and business. And with that, businesses also get a consistent reporting and agent supervisor experiences across all channels. Advanced work assignment is our routing and assignment engine that uses a variety of factors that we just talked about to route work to the best suited agent. And Workspace, as we just saw in the demo, provides all the tools and configurations to improve agent efficiency. We also have a manager workspace that helps supervisors monitor agents' performance and manage their schedules. Then we have Conversation Server. It's the central component that enables a consistent experience across all conversation channels. We can build a conversation flow once and run it multiple times across different channels. This includes both virtual and live agent experiences. Then we have Conversation API here, which is a conduit between Conversation Server and adapters. And out of box, ServiceNow, we ship 4 conversation adapters: WhatsApp, SMS, Facebook Messenger, and Line. But our entire adapter development framework is extensible and super flexible. So you as a business or partner could configure your own adapter by using our framework. Now let's see, how do we get these messaging adapters up and running? So there are 3 simple steps that you need to do in order to bring all these adapters into the state which I showed in the demo. First step is to sign up for the messaging channel provider. Now for SMS and WhatsApp, as we just talked about, we have ServiceNow messaging service that eliminates the need to have a separate account with any communication platform. Now for other channels such as Facebook Messenger and Line, businesses need to have their own developer account. Now, each of these messaging adapter is an application on ServiceNow store that we need to install. And right after installing the adapter, admins can create connections and also set up message authentication tokens. Second step is to set up virtual agent flows. You could choose to create your own public virtual agent topics, or even the existing public topic should automatically work. Build a topic once and run it across all the messaging channels. Third step here is to enable live agent conversations. We need to set up queues and routing rules to get the work routed to the appropriate agent by using advanced work assignment. So with that, I would like to share, Prithvi, please take it away for the next steps.
Sure. Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks for the demo and the walkthrough. We hope that you all are as excited as we are about this topic. So what could you do next? We would highly encourage you to start exploring this area and start playing with it. Choose a channel. We recommend that SMS should be your first channel to get started with. Sign up for SMS, download and configure the adapter, create some simple virtual agent topics that you can enable on SMS and see how the experience is and how you can enable customer conversations with virtual agent over SMS. Please do refer to our documentation on how to set up all of these capabilities. One thing to keep in mind, you do need a CSM professional or CSM enterprise license in order to leverage messaging. And again, if you have any questions on this topic, please do reach out to the account team and they can help you out on this topic. With that, we are concluding the webinar. Thank you so much for your